Um, Good morning. Good morning, good day, good night. um, Hello is probably a better thing to say. Hello. Today, I'm glad that you were able to make it to all my streams. You can hear how horribly unwell I am day after day. But hello, welcome. Hello, hello. Excuse me, so today I wanted to discuss, I guess it's obvious, the quote, Carian Connection between all things in this game, in the story, really. The Carians seem to have a rather ancient connection to pretty much everything that's going on in the story. We see that they are connected to the Rao, sort of, kind of, in their own way. We see that they are connected to the giants, that there's some kind of vow between the Carians and the giants. And when we fight Renala, multiple times she harkens back to that vow and says things like, "Oh giant, recall thy vow," or some shit like that. I can't remember, but she says some shit, and I don't think she says it like, "Oh giant, recall thy vow." I just like to say it that way. But yeah, there is the Carian connection between the Carians and the Nox, between the Carians and the Godskins, between the Carians and the Rao, between the Carians and the Giants, between the Carians and Radigan, between the Carians and the Shaman, via the Nox. Yes, that's what she says. Thank you, Solarbrae. You are such a wonderful resource in my chat. Thank you, Solarbrae. I appreciate you. And hello. I hope the stream goes well too, because today we're talking about everyone's favorite topic, the murder hobo basement Barbie and her family. I will be honest with you though, I always liked Ronnie. I still do. But because I'm like a Nicola loyalist, I like jokingly make fun of Ronnie enthusiast all the time. It comes with the territory. It's like, being English versus Scottish, or American versus Canadian, or Australian versus New Zealander. You get the vibe. It's that sort of thing. Yes. He's Extra Life doing the screenshots of all the spells is like literally giving me all my thumbnails. I should probably thank them at some point. Um, Outside of just right now, thank you for Extra Life. But did you mean something else by that, or were you talking about my thumbnails? Because I'm not aware of Extra Life's content outside of that they post stuff in the wiki all the time. Like item descriptions and whatnot. But yeah, so there's connections. Right now I'm using my Centrina build just because there's something I want to do on her. But I thought, I'll put her in the Carian armor and we'll do this little bit. This is Ronnie's tower. We're going to go look at Ronnie's corpse. And we're going to discuss something that I think may be the case. Everybody talks about how Radigan's children with Renala have been spared curses, and that in fact the only curse-born children of Marika's, quote-unquote children of Marika's, are indeed the children that she had with Radigan. Oh, okay. Well, Extra Life is helping us in lots of ways. But I have a theory that I hope to explore with a lot of you today, that it's quite possible that actually the Carian kids may truly be cursed themselves. Something I want to explore. Right, let's see. I don't know if I'm ready to fight him by myself. There we go. He was so easy with the sweet. Oh, hi, Metal Foxhund. Whilst doing work, apologies. No worries, lovely. I appreciate you for lurking. I love lurkers. Lurking is welcome here. As a person with autism, who, I'll be honest with you, it's actually difficult for me to engage with the chat. I'm forcing myself to do it because I want to make friends with the people who are coming here frequently. And you know, I'm so grateful for people to watch my streams. But oh, thank you. You can tell I'm sleepy, can't you? I'm a sleepy girl. I've been awake for like 3 hours. I've had my shower, I've done all of that stuff. There's no excuse. I'm just, you know, I want to make excuses. I'm dying of the coof. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys for helping me. I don't think I could do it without you. But that, you know, brings me back to what I was saying before, where actually it's quite difficult for me to engage with the chat for multiple reasons, because I do have a 2-screen setup, but it messes things up too often and it gets really annoying, and so I turned it off. So I'm just using my primary screen. But yeah, I'm gonna make a Carian banner and start playing my Carian characters so that you can see Carian stuff as we talk about the Carians. And I'm just actually gonna finish up getting this thing for my Centrina build. And then I'll switch to a Carian. I actually have two Carian builds. One of them is based off of my boyfriend. His name is David, and he's kind of a Batman build. I wanted him to have access to all kinds of different sorcerers, just whatever was useful for him, and he's more of a spellblade. And then one of them is based off of me, and her name is, it used to be Kate of Caria, but then when my cat died, my older cat, I used to have a character named after each one of my cats. I had Shakaya, Danica, Kadira, but I never made one after Arya. And so when Arya died, I wanted to honor her and give her a character in my Elden Ring. So I took the one that's like supposed to be modeled after me. And then sorry, I was chewing on my cuticle. And gave it to her, so now she's Arya of Caria. I just think it's the Aria of Caria. But yeah, so we might play Aria of Caria today. So what I wanted to talk about, the reason why I wanted to come up here and look at Ronnie's corpse, is something I think I have talked about on stream here before. If you look closely at little Rani, you will see that little Rani's legs don't go down to her feet. Her feet are completely gone. And you could attribute that to the fact that she was burned. But why that doesn't make sense for me, why that doesn't check out for me, is that she still has her fingers. She still has her fingers. Granted, some of them have charred and like fallen off, but they are still there. She still has her nose, which is nothing but cartilage and skin. She still has her ears. And we can even see red hair. There's like stained her skull and her scalp. And then of course her clothing somehow has survived, as well as a bangle, 2 bangles. So for her foot to be gone, but her dress isn't, her ear isn't, her nose isn't, it could be an art choice, but I'm kind of thinking there's a possibility, after looking at her, there being a depiction of Rykard in a wheelchair, and Radon, who has this connection to his horse Leonard, who's this tiny wee little thing he probably has had since he was a child, but he wants to continue riding this horse for forever, so he specifically learns gravity magic for that horse, quote unquote. I think this is probably a bit of whimsy. I have a feeling that that's not actually the case. He probably learned gravity magic, you know, to learn gravity magic, but he uses it well to protect Leonard. And so because of that, there's that little saying that, oh, he learned gravity magic just for his horse. The debris from the meteor in Limgrave looks like Ronnie's crumpled legs. Interesting. Which debris are you talking about in particular? Well, there's another thing that I want you to bear in mind. Yes, and we never see Renala standing unless she's in phantom form. I think it might have something to do with albinoric lineage. The floating debris from the impact after... Oh, it does look like Ronnie's legs. Well, there's something else that looks like Ronnie's legs. Have a really good look at this and keep it in mind. I'm going to switch to a different character for thematic purposes. I guess for the first time, we'll have my boyfriend in the stream. How about that? We will debut David. Sir David. Alright, let's have a look at his weaponry in case I want to switch anything around. Everything looks good. I might switch this. Oh, I can't. I haven't got the faith to wield this weapon. Yeah, I was thinking, yes, the sweetings are all crawling around as well. We're going to look at something, and I want for you to, I guess, pay close mind to it. Yeah, we'll put him in the Carian stuff. You look smart, David. You look smart. Alright, I think I'm running the wrong way. Why is there a deathbed? Where is the deathbed? Oh, it's way back there. Thank you, Celebrate. Have a good day. Hi, May. I nearly called you Mary for some reason. So May, what we're talking about today is the Carian Connection. How they seem to be connected to nearly every big thing, from the Rao to the Giants to the Shaman to the Nox to the Albinorics. And right now we're talking about how, like, the Carians might not be footless, for lack of a better way of wording it. They may not be footless, but I've never been... I'm not saying the Carians are footless, but I've never seen them with feet. How's that? And the other thing is, down here where the Albinorics are, what are these, everybody? What are these? Grandmother trees. grandmother trees. Isn't that great? It links the Albinorix and the Nox to the shaman. They have all these grandmother trees. And what I wanted to show you was look at the way that the Albinorix feet are disappearing. It's very much, come on, David, you have to have a monocular somewhere. It's very much like Ronnie's legs look when they're burning away. Do you see what I'm talking about? But they are actually fading. It seems as though they're fading from reality. They're not simply broken off and shattered. They are fading from existence, which is quite fascinating and something that I mean to explore. When we talk to... Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry, Mimic. When we talk to the old man Albinoric up here, Albinoric, albino, white, auric, gold. They are white gold. When we speak to the old man up here, well, fuck. He does the, oh no, don't hurt me, and la la la. And then he says, my life will fade along with my legs, tra la la. Look how much sunlight's actually coming through here. I've never seen that much sunlight come through here before. But anyway, he says all that. He says, you know, don't hurt me, blah blah blah. The what's his face? The all-knowing has come through here and genocided all the Albinorics. That's why we see the village in the states that it's currently in. But he says something really interesting. He says, my legs will soon fade, and with them my life. Why? Why do their legs fade out of existence like that? He does, doesn't he? He says it's the fate, such is the fate of all Albinorics, which is fascinating because fate has been halted via Radon until, of course, it's not. But yet, this thing is still happening. You can still make him disappear. Even when Radon is not yet defeated. So, I mean, that's quite fascinating. And definitely something that gets you thinking. Another thing that I want to go have a look at around here is, let's see. Hi, Whiskey Jack. No, yeah, it's it's fully possible that at some point he had feet. But we also know they retcon stuff. For example, there was a Mystic Knight that was released in the beginning of the game, and it had the Carian Knight set. And then there was also there was the Electrum Lily that was supposed to be like Mikola finding balance in the world. We can still follow that lore and still draw those conclusions, and I've pointed them out. It's part of my colloidal electron theory that I've gone over in stream and in kite stream and all that other stuff. So this stuff is still, you can still suss it out, but there's been obvious retcons. But the other thing is that we know that the Albinorix feet fade with time, but they do, like, supposedly have the feet. They just fade, and they seem to fade out of existence. Hi, Revu person. And with that being the case, it doesn't necessarily disprove this theory, but it also could, but not necessarily. So yeah, the other thing that I really wanted to look at was, let's see if I have it on David. David has a tendency to give my other characters all of his stuff that I like. Carian light greatsword embedded with blue glintstone. Weapon of Rolana, the twin midnight. 2 swords as a single armament. Blah blah blah. Golden flame will be carried in the left hand. So the flame is not gold. Have you noticed that? The flame is not gold. Here and here alone, were moon and fire ever together. But this is not true. It's not there and there alone. Moon and fire. Well, maybe. The other's flame and night, but the moon is part of the night, isn't it? I am fairly certain that I've already picked it up, but I'm going to go ahead and go to Carrier. And see if the sword of night and flame is still there. Yeah, it says that the flame from the sword is gold. It says two swords as a single armament. When two-handing, a straight sword engraved with golden flame. Oh, okay. So the flame itself is not supposed to be gold. A straight sword engraved with golden flame will be carried in the left hand, here and here alone, where flame and fire ever together. So, I speed read and misinterpreted what it says, but it does not actually say that the flame is supposed to be red. It just says that, or the flame is supposed to be gold. It says that there's a golden flame, on the sword. I have a feeling I've already picked this armament up. And so I'm running here for no reason. But it's worth it. It's worth having a look. I've already picked it up. But I know this sword talks of the vow between, or that the astrologers were once neighbors or something like that with the giants. And then we know that there's a vow between them because of Renala's fight. But interestingly enough, Rolana's sword says that here and here alone were flame and the moon ever together. That's a bit confusing, isn't it? Despite numbering fewer than 20, this power made them a match for even the champions of Golden Battle. The Carians are the Carians are legit, you guys. But I do want you to look at this weapon. Look at the hilt. And just what it looks like in general. And this is what I was talking about in my stream the other day. And look at the hilt of this weapon. They are the same. They are not just the same, they are exactly the same. This one is just weathered and worn, but they are the same, which suggests that the people that put these swords here, oh goodness, poor E.G. The people that put these sword monuments that give a wee bit of lore here are in some way connected with those swords. So when we get over there, I'm going to read the description a little bit more carefully. But do you see how clearly these swords are the same? A sword that none can pull from its scabbard of cracked stone. Sounds like a sword in the stone. Relic of a lost civilization from a time long past, said to have served a ritual purpose at altars of light and darkness. And the fascinating thing is that sword is the same as these. These are even still in their stone sheaths. Do you see down at the bottom of this sword? You can see the tip of the stone sheath. It's still intact, and it's also being, plainly viewable. Do you see the tip of the sword? Of the sheath, rather? You can see it just there. So these are definitely the same thing. And what's more is the connection between that sword and this other sword, which comes from the Alabaster Lord. And the Alabaster Lord is supposed to be a weapon unique to the Alabaster Lords, a race of ancients with skin of stone who is said to have risen to life when a meteor struck long ago. And this is very important when we think about the shaman and the Carians and everyone, this main group of characters, the Newman, if we go to Farah Missoula, I want to show you something else. I think it might be able to see it from here. If we go to Farah Missoula, you can see really clearly that there are human reliefs all in the walls. I think just right out the door. Here you can see them. Yeah, you could see them here. What I really want to point out is this one here. She has a baby, and she has something on her head. There, you can see it much better there. She's wearing a headdress that's like a big boxy thing on her head. The reason why this is important is because we know that the dragons all have skin of stone. Oh, I keep doing that. We know that the dragons have skin of stone. When Marika dies in the end of the game, when she's inside of the tree, her skin is made of stone. She is made of stone, and so is Radigan. This fascinates me because I think it connects them back. Like, even though they have flesh that melds well with the flesh of others, even though they create this putrescence, it says like in these stones here, special armaments with unique characteristics cannot be strengthened with colored smithing stones. Number of steps, blah 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 blah. There's a different some of them actually have lore to them that talk about, I think it's just the biggest ones. Yeah, it's just the dragon versions. But anyway, the point is that it's said that those scales are scales of stone, scales of dragons, and that they have the ability to bend time or warp time around them, which is why Faramazula, which is made of stone, and if we go to certain areas specifically, we can see it's not just made of stone, it's literally made of dragons who are themselves stone, and they make up some of the actual landmass that we're standing on. So if you look here, you can see them very clearly. And not only is their skin made of stone, but their flesh seems to be made of gold. And they are melding harmoniously with the stone all around them. This is why, for the longest time, I thought that the shaman and the Newman, they must be after some fashion dragon people, clay people, yes. But as I spoke about in my stream yesterday, I think the clay people relate not to like the natural state of the Newman, but rather them experimenting with the nature of their own flesh. Their flesh has remarkable magical arcane properties, and I believe once they, you know, determined that their flesh had these different properties, they started creating life. I'm doing it again. Fuck. But the fascinating thing that I'm trying to point out here is that it says in this sword, which can relate to this sword, which is an ancient sword from the deep past, it says that the Alabaster Lords are a race of ancients with skin of stone who are said to have risen to life when a meteor struck long ago. I think all of this loops around the reason why the Carians are connected to the Nox. I think is because they are like this perfected version of a semi-shaman, semi-albinoric being. And part of what supports this theory is when we are fighting Renala in her library chamber with all of her sweetings, if you look down at them, they have very peculiar eyes. Half of their eyes are gold, and half of their eyes are this strange blue color. Blue color that, when we can see Renala's eyes clearly, you can see that she possesses that blue color. If you go very close to the Albinorics, you can see that they possess a similar blue color. I think that the Carians are Nox, whose flesh melded harmoniously with Albinorics. And this is why the Carians can't exactly walk. It's why, like this Albinoric woman, they have weak legs, weak feet, and the men, their feet fade from existence altogether. Which reinforces also like their matriarchal society, in spite of the sheer immense power of Radon. Still, he is not the heir to the Carian throne. Instead, it's Princess Rani. We never hear Radon being called a prince. So, having looked at all of that, and the sacred trees, I think we might even be able to find sacred trees in Carian Manor. If you look here, on the map, there's trees coming out of the castle on the map. There's a tree right here. So let's go have a look and see if it looks like a shaman tree. We found shaman trees in the Albinoric village. I found shaman trees in Faramazula, which I'll go show you in a moment. But most of the trees that we see in Carian Manor seem to be evergreens. She is a very large woman. She's larger than Radigan for sure, yeah. Yes, and the other thing that we know about the lords that they were trying to create in the Eternal Cities is that they were very large. They were very, very large. So we've only ever seen those grandmother trees with quite a lot of their foliage gone. But even still, I don't think that that is a grandmother tree. Sorry, he was looking at me funny. Yeah, that's not a grandmother tree. But that large tree in the middle, you can't really see. But if we want definitive proof, I know someone who has had a really good gander at that by the name of Scum Mage Infa. I believe there are. Let's go have a look, shall we? I'm wanting to see if I can see that large tree at the top of Carian Manor. I don't think there's any way for me to have a look at it. But I mean, it's up there on the building itself. And it's green. Verdant green. And it's way up there. We'll have to have a look at it with Scum Mage Infa. But let's go have a look in the graveyard of Rey Lucaria, shall we? And then I want to show you the grandmother trees that are in Farah Missoula. And a fascinating property of theirs, unique to all of the grandmother trees in the world. I see a grandmother tree immediately. Do you see it? There's one there. There's one there. There's another straight ahead. There's another up there. There's another back there. And another right there. There are tons of grandmother trees. There's 2 more, 3 more. Who's shooting at me? So there are certainly grandmother trees here, but I found grandmother trees in a really fascinating place that I want to point out to you, like I said, because they are quite unique as far as grandmother trees go. Okay, something's aggroed on me and I don't know where it is. Alright. So here lies a grandmother tree. And the fascinating thing about this grandmother tree is, and this one, I think they are a nod to the weirwood trees of A Game of Thrones, which I think all of the trees, the sacred trees, the grandmother trees and the tree, are nods to it in that people go into the trees. But the most fascinating thing about these trees is not that they are white because they are white. They are white because they are made of stone. These grandmother trees are made of stone. And what's more than that is there's like sections of these trees missing, as though someone came out of them. Someone made of stone. Now remember I showed you a picture, or rather we looked at a relief of a woman here in Faramazula. In fact, she's straight up there, holding a bear and with a very unique headdress on. This is a very iconic image, and we can find it in real life. We can find it in real life, and it is let me find it. Here it is straight away. Alright, I'm gonna show you my window. This is a relief, or rather a statue, of a person from ancient Greece named Tyche. Tyche. Tyche is a very special person. She's part of a group of all women who are said to, they were part of like some kind of Justice League. Here, hero myths. No. These women, I'm not seeing where it says it anywhere here, but they were part of a group of women that visited justice on people who were, who used their prosperity, as basically as like a weapon against the people below them, the people that serve them. So people who abused their power. And they were part of a system of justice that would tear down those people abusing their power. What's fascinating about this statue is it's nearly a 1-to-1 with that statue relief in the game of that woman on the wall in Faramazula. But what's more interesting about this to me is that that statue in real life is named Tyche, right? Do you know anywhere in this game where there's someone named Tyche? Can you recall? Most people pronounce her name differently. when they come across her. But because we now know the inspiration for this character, we know the proper way to pronounce the name. And we also know of someone that this character is related to, named Alecto. Exactly. Black Knife, most people say Tish, or Taish, or Taishi, or whatever. But it is Taiki, it is Greek. And she's related to someone named Alecto. Remarkably, Alecto is the name of another one of those same people in the same order of Taiki in Greek mythology. So these characters were together in Greek mythology just as they are in Elden Ring's mythology. If we are being alluded to Taiki and Alecto, the Black Knife assassins, just as we are being alluded to the people of Farum Azula on the reliefs in the walls, which is quite ancient, and there are grandmother trees there. All I can think is that there must be a connection. I must have already killed this. I must have already done this. I must have Taiki. Let's find out. I do. Legendary Ashen Remains. Taiki was one of the assassins who, on the night of the plot, imbued her black knife with the rune of death and slew Godwyn the Golden. She was the daughter of the Black Knife ringleader, Alecto, and was killed protecting her mother during their flight from the royal capital. So the connection here is that the Newmen have an origin in Farum Azula, which means they very well may be dragon people. The Newmen may come from Farum Azula, or they may come from the people in the meteor who, when the meteor hit, these people rose, the alabaster and onyx lords rose to life. And the other thing that's missing in this equation is if we read the Ruins Greatsword. This is very obviously, to me, I could be wrong, but to me it looks very clearly like ruins from Farum Azula. And it says, originally rubble from a ruin which fell from the sky. This surviving fragment was honed into a weapon, one of the legendary armaments. The ruin it came from crumbled when struck by a meteorite. As such, this weapon harbors its destructive power. If a meteorite striking can bring alabaster lords and onyx lords to life, just as it can knock Farum Azula into rubble in the sky and force rubble, debris from Farum Azula all over the lands between, then does it not make sense that alabaster and onyx lords striking dragonstone could erect a people who are made of dragonstone, that are the ancestors to the Ul, that are the ancestors to the Rao, or vice versa, that are the ancestors to the shaman, that are the ancestors to the Eternals, the Newman and the Nox, that are the ancestors to the Carians. There is a lineage here, and that would mean that these people do come from somewhere outside the lands between, and this is how you follow that lineage. But I think what's also remarkable about this do you know what? I've completely lost my train of thought. Hold on, let me think about it. It had something to do with the Nox, the shaman, the Nox. I don't know. I've lost my train of thought. Hi, Brandon. But do you see here what I'm putting together? Do you see here how I'm mapping it out? Because I tried to model him after my boyfriend. Also because I'm like that. I'm like, you know, oh, I'm gonna make a male character. Of course I'm gonna make him sexy. My boyfriend doesn't have purple eyes. But anyway, this is also interesting because this is also interesting because of these guys here, these crystallians. They are unique in this world. They are made of crystal, but they're clearly like thinking, moving creatures with behavior. So what's the connection here? What's the connection between all of these beings being made out of stone and crystal and goo? How is this a thing? A lot of people in this game do that. They make ugly, ugly, ugly beings. We'll take some of this. Well, yeah, it means that they are truly alive. Look at that torso. I don't think I've ever fought this red wolf. Came out of nowhere. Oh. I was just about to say, it doesn't seem to be using much magic. I wonder if he just does less magic than the other ones do. Oh. Just lost all that health back. Okay, I have to actually fight him at some point. I gotta get off the back foot here. He is so good at doing this bullshit. Wow. I'm gonna run away and recover. Elsewise I will die. Yeah, the red dog is 100% connected to Radigan. Wow. Why was he kicking my ass so hard, you guys? I don't know if it's wise for me to go into that fight without first seeking a grace. Are there more crystal people here? No. Hi, Roscoe. I am going to replenish all my flasks at this grace. It's sad that I'm getting my ass kicked. That one red wolf gives me trouble too. Yeah, thank you for making me feel better about it. I wasn't even able to hit him a single time. He was just destroying me. We'll see what happens this time there. Yeah, why is that so hard to dodge? Ah. Oh, that was rough. But I did it, yay. I must have run through here and collected all this without fighting him. But this brings me back to, with all of these things being connected, who is this fucking woman? She's everywhere that's associated with the Carians, including in the DLC. She doesn't look anything like Renala. Yeah, it's that lady again. Who is she? Where's she from? What does she want? But yeah, there is something else I wanted to point out to you. I was here. I was here in Night's sacred ground when I took notice of something. First of all, there are Mikola butterflies here, but that's not what I wanted to point out. What I wanted to point out to a lot of you is something I've never seen before, and I don't know if anyone's ever pointed this out before, or if any of you have ever seen it before. Look at those faces. Look at those faces on the wall. One of them in particular looks a wee bit like Elton John. But they do look very strange. Oh, I know, doesn't he? He is fabulous. There's another place where we could get like an even better look at them. I have to recall where it is. I think it's here. I think it's here. We have to go through this whole area. We can get really close up look at them right here. And some of them don't look exactly human. Like that one looks like a demi-human. And that one just looks fucked. Like, what is that? A fish face? A fish face? What is that? What are these and why are they here? Some of them look demi-human. There's the fish face. But then there's one that does look like Elton John. Oh, he's just up there. Have you guys ever seen these before? They're made of something like shiny, greasy black stone. Exactly. The shy. The shy by the shadow. There we see fish face. We see a Godskin Noble, it looks like. We see Elton John. Fish face, fish face, fish face. Lots of fish face. Maybe. Maybe. Why is he... Why are you doing that? He's like, no, it's my stuff, you can't have it. This is like the thing that dogs do when they have like a treat. They're like, no. Anywho, let's see, what time is it? I have to go right around 9 o'clock, and it is 9 o'clock. So, I do want to hit more on some of what we've touched on today at a later date. But I will be making the Carians and like Carian lore a little bit more of a focus of my streams for the next couple of days. I'm going to be working for the next 4 days, so I'll probably still stream, but we'll see. There's a possibility that I won't, but I probably will. Anyway, thank you everybody for tuning in today. I really appreciate you. And it's been really nice talking law with you. Thank you very much for joining me for as long as you have. And hopefully you will tune back in tomorrow and we can do a bit more law diving. Yeah, a lot of people say that. I've found some things even Tarnished Archaeologist has glossed over, either because he didn't think they were important or possibly because he didn't see them. But yeah, I'm very detail oriented. It's a gift that comes along with the excuse me, choking on my words, with the turmoil that is having autism. Anyway, I don't know if it's worth it. But anyway, thank you guys again, and I hope everybody has a lovely day or night or whatever it is wherever you are.